Hey guys, it's Crazy Comic Lady and I'm back with a whip and chat art style. So this is my kind of fan art take on an old masters piece that's called The Birth of Venus. So you may or may not have heard of this painting. So it was originally created, the original painting, in 1485 by the artist Sandro Botticelli. I believe that's how it's pronounced, but I've actually always loved this actual painting, this old masters painting. Actually, I think the first time I learned about this painting was when I was a child watching The Simpsons, because there was an episode early on in the Simpsons run that had this Homer Simpson was falling for one of his co-workers, and they actually did a kind of a take on this picture in that episode. If you've seen The Simpsons, you probably know which one I'm referring to, but there's been so many Simpsons now that I wouldn't blame you if you haven't seen that episode that I'm talking about. But that was like the first introduction to this artwork that I ever saw as a child, and I've always loved it. And I know when many years ago, when we were moving my nanny into a nursing home, we took quite a lot of her stuff down to auction for her. And in the auction room they actually had a painting of the birth of Venus up on the wall. It was probably just a print or something rather than an actual painting, but I always wished I'd like put a bid on it or something. It was massive, because the detail in the original is incredible. And to think that, this original painting was painted in 1485, it's amazing how many centuries that's been. So anyway, this is my fan art version of The Birth of Venus. So I decided to go in first with my markers just to kind of get the background in, because I'm not actually a big fan of using markers, which is ironic considering that the majority of the art videos on my channel have been with markers. But I've always found markers just really stressful, because you've got like a certain amount of time before they dry to get the details in. If you work too much, then the paper starts disintegrating. So I decided what I'd do would I would create like a base colour with the markers, and then I'd go in with colour pencils, because I actually prefer coloured pencils. They're my most favourite medium to use art-wise. However, I don't like having like the grains of the paper showing through when you're using coloured pencils. So to get rid of the grains, you usually have to press really hard to kind of really blend the colour into the paper, which I'm not, for me and my hands that doesn't work too well. So I thought if I start with a marker base, hopefully that will make the rest of the colouring easier. At least that was my assumption on it anyway. So yeah, because it's very rare that I ever get like an arty urge. I know back when I started YouTube and stuff, I was drawing every single day, and now it's like every 6 months I'll finally get the urge to like attempt something, and then I never finish it, which has sort of happened with this one. So I recorded this quite a few days ago now, I can't remember, and I got as far as I could before my hand started giving me trouble, and then it's just been like sitting on my desk to the side waiting for me to go back to it, which hopefully I will, because this is like one of my favourite like old master classic paintings, which originally I kind of got back into kind of the old masters style of paintings when there's an event that happens every year in the diamond painting community that's called Summer with the Masters, which is any like diamond painting which has artwork which is before the copyright date of, I think it was 1926. So this is always one, when I first got into diamond painting, that I was like, this would be awesome to get done as a custom and just get a massive version of it done as a custom diamond painting. However, I know the price of it would be quite high, because I think the amount of detail that's in the original artwork, which if you haven't seen it, I will pop it up on the screen right now. So if you have a quick look, then that's what the original looks like. There's a lot of detail, so I'm not sure if that would actually work with a diamond painting unless you kind of cropped it. But I do actually have a piece of diamond painting fan art which I bought from the artist Elaine Lescott from Moon Shop before they closed down, which is a fan art version of this same image, but as a chibi version of her, which I thought was really cute. And I thought, well, I don't want to kind of copy that artist's take on it by doing a chibi myself. I will just do my style portrait of Venus. So I think the description of the painting was originally, this was, Venus. See if I can actually find it and read it out to you. There we go. The Birth of Venus is a painting by the Italian artist Sandro Botticelli, probably executed in the mid-1480s. It depicts the goddess Venus arriving at the shore after her birth, when she had emerged from the sea fully grown. Yes, so that is the description of the painting. So yeah, anyway, one of my favourites. I'll stop boring you by talking about old masters paintings, but yeah, because of the diamond painting event, Summer with the Masters, it kind of got me in the mood. So I might try and participate in that event next year, and get a diamond painting, which is before the copyright date of 1926. I think that's when it was. So now I'm going in with get the coloured pencils going on it. I think right at the end I possibly put too much of a dark outline around her face, but I'm assuming when I go back in for the detail in the hair it should blend out. But at the moment it's, as I said, it's half done. So anyway, that's kind of my arty progress. I did have this month as well, October, I had another urge as well, when I've mentioned before that in the diamond paintings there's an artist called Mari945 who has got all these portraits of all the Disney princesses, and I love those. And I did actually give in, and I bought 2 of those before I'd bought my house. I was sort of like, one last hurrah, I'm going to get a couple more diamond paintings just before I have no money. So I did get 2 of those from Jaded Gem Shop, and that made me kind of feel inspired to sort of create my own Disney princess portrait styles of artwork. So I had a go at doing Snow White, I started with, and I did ink that, and I started colouring that digitally, and I did share a progress picture up on Twitter, which is now X, which I much preferred it when it was called Twitter. So I've made a bit more progress since I put up that picture on Twitter, but I haven't actually gone back to it. And I did do a few others, like I sketched out a Little Mermaid one of where she's wearing all the flags that she had or the sails, that's the word I meant, when she gets off, when she's on the beach. I kind of did a portrait where she's in that outfit, because that's not a commonly used outfit that people draw her in, is the sails as a makeshift dress. So that one is quite pretty, but I never actually finished the sketch. It's just sitting there. But I shall feel proud of myself. I did some arty stuff. That's more arty stuff than I've probably done for the rest of this entire year that I did this month. So go me. I might actually put it up as a month in review art thing and just show you guys like the very few sketches that I did for that. Or I could just tack it on at the end of the diamond painting month in review videos that I put up. So yeah, anyway, if you want to know life updates of all the dramas that happened with the house that I bought, you know how people say that buying a house is one of the most stressful things you'll ever do? I fully concur. That was stressful. So it got to the point where we were all ready to kind of get on with completion, and I'd submitted all my forms to pull all my money out of my investment. So I ring up my financial advisor and say, so yeah, have you got all the forms? Are we ready to go to pull all the money out? And they said, no, none of the forms have turned up. And I was like, oh, but I sent them over a week ago. So I very quickly then have to hurriedly, they send me an email copy of the form. I printed out the form. I had to log in to get all of my investment details to put on the form. And then when what has happened, I'm now £15,000 less than I was a few weeks ago. So that, for me, that was a massive stressful blow because of my investment taking a dip at the wrong possible moment. And the ironic thing is that my financial advisor at the very beginning had said, oh no, we need to leave your money in until we're definitely 100% sure that it's going ahead. Leave it in for as long as possible. Yeah, and then of course the market tanked and I lost 15,000. So if I hadn't followed the advice of my financial advisor, I'd have been £15,000 higher and actually would have been able to afford to do any of the renovations that I actually need doing. So yeah, it's been a bit stressful of now how can I do this house up on the cheap, because I've lost my budget for decorating and replacing bathrooms. So that was a huge stress, and I spoke with my solicitor about it as well, and the financial advisor, and they said, well, here are all some bullet points to go back to the seller and say, well, the market's tanked. Anyway, they gave me a really good kind of speech that I read out to see if there'd be because everyone said, like, don't tell them you've lost money, just find things that you can pull out of the survey to negotiate the price on. So I tried to do that. That massively backfired, because they turned around and said, no, we are not going to compromise on this price at all. You agreed to it already. We will put it back on the market straight away if you don't agree to the current price. So that was like stressful. So I spent like a weekend re-cranking the numbers and going, can I even afford this now, being 15 grand less than what I was, when this house was actually over my budget to start with the asking price that they'd wanted. So I had a stressful, super stressful weekend with that. And then then they turned around and said, I said, okay, yes, we'll just continue at the same price. They then immediately turned around and said, okay, but we need your deposit money immediately this week, otherwise it's going back on the market. I was like, well, I don't have the money, because I've just put in all my forms to pull out all of my investment to pay for this place. I'm not going to have the money any sooner than when my investment turns up, because I'm pulling all the money out in one go. So at which point I was getting so stressed. I was actually in the counsellor's office with my counsellor when I was just getting bombarded with phone calls, like one after the other. And I was like, well, I've got to take these. I can't not. And I was getting like 3 emails came through from different people at the same time. So that was a really stressful counselling session. But eventually I didn't do what my solicitor said and didn't do what the financial advisor said. And I actually explained the situation to the estate agent and said, look, my investments have tanked. I've lost 15 grand. I don't have, the money that I did 5 weeks earlier. It's like it's dropped at the wrong possible time. At which point she went from being very aggressive to being very kind and understanding, and actually said, oh, if you'd been up front about that last week, he probably would have agreed to lower the price. And I was like, oh my god, I can't do right for doing wrong. I keep following people's advice and then it backfires. So anyway, we went ahead anyway. It didn't help that my solicitor was on holiday, followed by his solicitor being on holiday. But eventually, we did actually complete on the 13th of October, which was Friday the 13th. So I'm calling it the Halloween house now. But yeah, that week where I lost the 15 grand, Royal Mail lost my money request forms. I had to rush around post offices to try and get it, because it was like a Friday, and I was like, well, I've got to get it out. And every single post office we went to was shut. One was because the system was down. The other one, it was because it didn't open until much later. So that ended up, eventually I did get that, obviously, posted off. But that was £7 for special delivery for 2 pieces of paper, which was insane. And then on that same weekend, the HelloFresh box, which is the food delivery service box that I'd ordered, that got lost. That never turned up. So I was on a call centre with them, and they wouldn't refund me, and they wouldn't resend me another box. And eventually they did give me, 64 credit back onto the account. But I was like, well, now we've got no food for this week. And then on top of that, an Amazon parcel that I'd ordered, that got lost as well. And eventually I got refunded. The really nice ring that my partner Aidan had got me for my birthday, that that snapped as well. All of this within the space of literally 3 days of each other, all this stuff going wrong. And then to finish it off with that week that just wouldn't stop, I think it was on the same day that I broke my ring, my phone fell out of my pocket and landed kind of screen side down on my partner's bathroom floor, which is all tiles, and it's like massively cracked the screen protector. I was like, wow, this really just goes with the week that I've been having. But I just didn't know how I was getting through that. The stress and anxiety alone. So then, you know, that was that week. And then the following week, we start off going, okay, completion's going to happen this week. Got all this paperwork I've got to very quickly finish for the rest of it. You know, I go down to the bank, I get the money transferred to the solicitor's account. I'm then getting bombarded from phone calls from the bank saying, oh, have your home insurance with us, and oh, we've scheduled you a meeting to have home insurance, and all of this stuff, while I'm on the bus trying to get home while eating my lunch, which was just a quick sausage roll that I'd grabbed from the corner. So we get home, I get the insurance thing booked in for the next day, the meeting with that insurance people. And then we take the dogs out, and then we get home, and I realise that our lurcher puppy, who isn't a puppy anymore, there's blood all down his side. And we're like, oh no. And we think what's happened was, it was very dark when we went out, and there was a French bulldog, which the owner had said, oh, usually he's not very good with other dogs. So we think actually what had happened is, when they were in the field in the dark, we didn't see, we think the French bulldog probably nipped him, and it's left like a puncture in his sort of shoulder blade. So that's scabbed over now. It wasn't too bad, you know, we just cleaned it out and went, we'll keep an eye on it. And it was fine, that's healed up. The next day, of course, I've got my insurance meeting. So I do that, which takes an hour-long meeting, which is so expensive. I don't know what was going on with the insurance, but the insurance for my new place is double what my parents are paying. Their house is twice the size, and you know, I've moved to literally a 15-minute walk away from my parents' house, and yet my house insurance is double the price of theirs. So that's going to be something to look at in the future, is house insurance. All these things that you don't think about when you're not having to pay it. So we have that. I make food. We've got Obi. He's running around with Cassie. We let him in because it's like, okay, we're going to call it a night and just whatever, get him back in the house. And then he runs back in the house and leaves a trail of blood all through the kitchen, all through the hallway, all into the sitting room, on the carpets. I was like, oh no. I mean, it's really quite a lot of blood. And I don't know, he must have caught his foot on something or something when he was in the garden, or jumped up the patio wrong and caught a nail. But yeah, that was an extra 40 minutes just after eating food, of getting on the ground and scrubbing all the blood off the carpet. So after that, we then find out that the car is broken, and not just a little broken. It cost over £900 to fix a car, which is actually more than the cost of the car was worth. So that happened. And then, so the day after the car has gone into the garage, we still haven't got it back. It's going to be there, I don't know how long, at that point. So I'm rushing around trying to get the very last bits. I've accepted the house insurance, even though it was more than I'd been quoted for a different company. But I was just like, yes, we'll just go with that, get it done. I'll reevaluate once everything's in place, because I've got solicitors pestering me saying, you need to have your home insurance set up before we can complete the exchange of contracts. So I get all that done. I get over the very last bits for that my solicitor needed. Just as I'd finished banging all those emails off, I look out of my window, and there's Mum with a stranger who's helping her home, and she's covered in blood. It's all down her face. So I rush downstairs. I'm in a bit of a panic, going, what's happened? So what actually had happened is, she'd gone up for her blood test at the surgery, which is up a hill. On the way back, coming down the hill from having her blood test done, she'd lost control of her walker, because she's not good on slopes, and she just couldn't pull the brakes hard enough to stop her. The walker got away with her. She went down face first onto the pavement, and a stranger had come and walked her the rest of the way home. So I'm now sort of half panicking, because I'm like, we don't have a car. I ring 999. They refuse to actually send anyone out, because of course they're too busy, and they're like, oh, but you need to bring her up to A&E in the next hour. I was like, but we've got no car, hold on. So I go around to the first neighbours next door, knock on their door, because all the cars are in the driveway, knock on their door, no one answers. I go over the road to the lady opposite who's actually a nurse, her car's in the driveway, ring the doorbell, there's no one there. So then, third time lucky, third neighbour's house I go into, I managed to grab her, and which was very lucky, because if it had been half an hour later, she'd have been going to do the school run. So I was very lucky that she was there. So I got dressed really quickly. We got Mum into the car and up to A&E, which ended up being was it almost 5 hours, I think, in the end, or was it 4.5? But yeah, that was that was certainly an entertainment, because A&E was so insanely busy that I ended up just having to sit on the floor, and there wasn't any porters or anyone available to help her around, so I was pushing her around in a wheelchair, which also for my health wasn't the best. But we got her up there, they took an x-ray. Fortunately, she hadn't broken her cheekbone or anything. That was the biggest worry, because I mean her side of her face was just black, and her shoulder and her wrist, but fortunately nothing broken. My partner then actually came and collected us while I'm actually in the hospital. My phone battery's going flat, 'cause of course I'd been on it all morning dealing with my solicitor stuff. So fortunately my partner came, picked us up. The car still wasn't ready. It wasn't even ready until Friday the 13th, the day I got my house keys. So yeah, that was exciting. So then the following day, so we're now on last Thursday, I think, I finally go, okay, I need a bath to relax my joints. I'm in a lot of pain, and I know I've got to deal with house stuff coming up, which is going to be Friday. So I decided to get in the bath. I've been in the bath for 10 minutes, and I get a knock on the door saying, Thames Water is here. They're saying we've got a massive leak. And I'm like, what? We fixed the leak, not the leak again, please. So I jump out of the bath, get my clothes on, get downstairs. It's raining, so I'm outside in the rain chatting to the Thames Water guy, who then had to rush off to do something else. He then came back a few hours later and said, yeah, no, you don't have a leak. It was your fault for having a bath, because it was the water tank was refilling, which was why he was thinking it was a leak. But no, it was because I'd run a bath. And then he was getting really kind of a bit arsey about it, and be like, oh, it's your fault. Who bloody has a bath at 11:30 on a weekday? And it's like, maybe someone who's spent 5 hours yesterday sitting on a cold floor in A&E. I didn't actually say any of this, but I was kind of going, yeah, people should be more understanding and not just jump to conclusions that everyone is, able-bodied and healthy and can do this stuff. So that, it kind of got me down a bit. I tried to let it just wash over me, because, he doesn't know that I'm disabled and I'm struggling all the kind of week that I've had. So anyway, that was just an extra load of stress that was completely unnecessary. It's like, why? We didn't need that. So to add on as well, that day I got a letter through. I opened the letter, and it's from the stomach people up at the hospital, saying, oh, we've tested your repeat samples, no fault found. And I'm reading it going, well, that's clever of you, because the sample pots are still sitting in the bathroom. I haven't even sent you the sample pots, because this year has been insane with the endless leak, the generator, the family dramas, the puppy surgeries, buying the house and all that. I haven't had a chance to even think about my own health and getting the repeat samples sent off. So I'm kind of reading it going, well, I wonder whose samples you guys tested then, because it wasn't mine, because I haven't sent you any. So I tried to ring them up, and they weren't there, and then they were on holiday, and I tried to ring up again, and again they weren't there. It's like, we are out of the office. So I left a message saying, please ring me back. So I think that is the update for October. It's been a rather stressful time. including a family member who, the same family member again, twice now, has deleted me off Facebook and then tried to re-add me. It's like, yeah, I don't want to deal with your childish behaviour. You're 50-something years old, and just because I've been too busy to reply to you, you delete me as a friend off Facebook. Again, I haven't said any of it because I'm like, I don't need the drama. If you don't want to be my Facebook friend, that is completely fine. I am happy with that. That means I don't have to deal with extra drama. Anyway, smile and be happy. Things could be worse. Sorry I talked your ear off for 25 minutes. I kind of hope you like my fan art of the birth of Venus. It's sort of different to the usual type of fan art that I usually do. But yeah, I think we should definitely appreciate the old masters' classic paintings more. They don't get as much love as they should do. So yeah, if you guys have ever done fan art of an old masters style painting, let me know, because I'd really actually be interested to see like your take on like an old style fan art painting of an old masters piece. So if you've done it ever before, tell me your experiences and tell me what painting it was that you did fan art of, because I'd be really, really interested to find that out. So at the moment I'm trying to take it easy. I still haven't sorted out council tax or gas, electric and water for the new place. I'm assuming eventually that they'll send me a bill or a letter through the post, because I'm having trouble kind of getting that sorted out. I did get a quote for a loft conversion on the new place, which is a possibility in the future, once my partner sells his house and we've got more disposable income to put into the new house, because that would be good. And possibly putting a porch on the front. And yeah, at the moment we're just going to take it one room at a time. We're going to start with the art room. So we're going to look at paint samples. It's probably going to be pink, because I like pink, and then I'm going to get some carpet put in that room and get the windows opened, because like the previous tenants have sealed all the windows shut, so we're going to have to kind of break through the seals to be able to open the windows. But I will definitely do videos and stuff, because I definitely do want to do a room workstation tour of my current setup at my parents' house, and then I'll show you like the new place once, because that'll be the first room that's done that I can start moving stuff into, and then we'll probably tackle my room second, because I want to move a radiator, because it's like taking up so much wall space that I then can't get any of my bookshelves in. So I kind of want to take the radiator and put it on the other wall underneath the window, which would be more sensible. So I've been quoted like £600 roughly that'll cost to move a radiator, and then we need to rip out the bathrooms, because they're actually in a lot worse condition than I'd originally thought. So definitely ripping out the bathrooms, but again, trying to do it on the cheap now to save money where we can, because I did actually get the quote for all the rendering, because all the rendering on that property needs doing as well, and that was around £8,000 plus VAT. So that's another one that one can wait until next summer. I'll worry about that then when it's decent weather. So anyway, that's my updates on my house, my life. My mum is good. She's definitely a lot less bruised than she was. The swelling's gone down quite a lot. She's still having a bit of problems with her finger, but otherwise she's on the mend. It just looked like someone has a very large person has beaten her in the eye, because it's very black, but it's a lot better than it was. And her shoulder was quite grazed, but it's on the mend. But that was definitely a worry. I do worry about my mum quite a lot, because she can't really manage the house that she's in, and the fact that it's on a hill as well. So I know that, that's like the final nail in the coffin for this house, really, is that it's not in a location that she can manage anymore, or even the garden, because of the patio steps, and the size of this house is too big really for her, especially when I'm not going to be in it as well. She's going to have 2 very large empty rooms. Yeah, so that'll be possibly next year. We'll be looking into getting my parents possibly into assisted living, because I've mentioned before my father has dementia as well, so that's been a bit of a struggle, especially with he usually takes the meter readings at this place, and then he gives me the numbers so that I can plug them in online. But unfortunately we discovered that last month he'd actually made an error on that, and he'd actually I think he'd been number dyslexic and he'd written the numbers down the wrong way. So this month when I banged in the numbers, they sent up like an error saying, no, it's not as high as it should be. And I was like, no, it's just because last month got messed up. So I think the time is getting close to my parents needing to downsize and be somewhere more manageable than this old wreck of a turd which has endless problems. So yeah, at least the leak is fixed. At least we have electricity, which is better than when we had that generator because of losing the electrics. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I kind of hope you enjoyed my ramblings and life updates. And again, please let me know if you've ever done fan art of any of the old masters' classic paintings. I'd be very interested to know. I wonder if I should do more actually in the future of the old... my brain is going to the Scream. Maybe I could turn that into like a really fun chibi Scream. Yeah, I don't know. I'm finding more inspiration in the old classics. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the thumbs up if you did enjoy it. And I'll see you guys all soon. Okay, bye.